Hello, Hersey High School. I'm Zell Kurth, and I sat down with Tina, Yoanna, and Gil to talk about the crisis in Ukraine. We also talked about how potentially World War III could start and its effect upon the world and Gen Zers today. Hope you enjoy. All right, so hello, Hersey High School. Me and Tina are here today for the Hersey Howl to talk about the situation with Ukraine and Russia. And we have two special guests today, Yoanna and Gil. So
hey guys.
Hi.
Welcome.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
How are y'all doing today on March 7th? It is today, but so a lot of things have happened. And we're gonna have to, I don't know how to get into it. It's like a lot to talk about.
It's a lot.
Yeah,
to unpack.
It is.
It's just like crazy. Well, we're talking about like Russia and the war. It's just like truly crazy. Like
yeah,
Yeah.
and so little time.
I know.
it's prospered so much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy how like one man who like wants something really bad like can start all of this like
Just like with
chaos.
just like
Like
with a snap of his fingers and this whole thing just starts.
it's really unfair. Like
And honestly, most of America doesn't really know what's going on because in media they're not covering it because they're so embarrassed that Biden isn't doing anything that like the U.S. media is not covering it. But if you watch like Polish media, it's all over it. But like in America, it's like, oh, okay, this happened in Ukraine. Now back to this, and I'm
So
just like,
gas prices are 4.5.
Yeah, it's like so quick because the invasion literally happened February 24th. It is only March 7th. So that's like how many
Less than
weeks? Like
2 weeks.
That's
Yep.
2 weeks we've been in, and I see stuff everywhere. Like it's trending on Twitter all the time, social media. Like people are posting things, and it's just there's so much happening. Like even President Zelensky, I heard there was like 3 assassination attempts that he got in like a week.
oh my god.
That he somehow like.
Survived.
I don't know.
Fighting? Like he's like fighting in the front lines, isn't he?
I don't know if he is, but I know he's staying, which is very
Yeah,
brave of him,
he
I would
is
say.
staying.
Because some, like, world leaders, I don't know.
we
would
Ukrainians
leave.
are no scaredy cats.
Yeah. So that's why we also, like, have you guys here, because you guys have Eastern European families.
Ties.
Yeah, and ties. And we all are, like, Eastern European descent of some sort. So, like, would you like to talk about your background a little bit, Yoanna?
So then I think we should all share what part of Eastern Europe we're from.
Okay.
So I'm Bulgarian, and so both of my parents are from there. They immigrated here. And as far as I know with the Ukraine and Russia situation, I know that Bulgaria opened up their borders to Ukrainian refugees. So that's pretty cool on our part. Yeah.
Okay. And Tina?
I'm Tina. I'm Albanian. Shame on me. I don't really know what's happening with like the Balkans and
The Balkans.
and the Ukrainian situation. I'm sure we would be very like welcoming because there was like a war literally like 30 years ago. So like, and a bunch of people had to like leave and refuge. So I'm sure we're on good terms.
Yeah. All right, Angela.
I am Polish and Ukrainian. My grandparents, or my grandma is from Ukraine and my grandpa is from Poland. And I know that Poland is being very, very, very open to Ukraine. I know that one of my friends whose grandparents still live in Ukraine, or not in Ukraine, in Poland, cannot leave Poland because they have so many Ukrainian refugees living in their house.
Wow.
So they literally can't leave. It's crazy.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So my family is Slovakian and Polish. At least that's like with Eastern European. But I'm also like German and Irish. But with that, I know I have some distant relatives in Poland. My grandparents even spoke Polish, and I know that Poland has opened up their borders a little bit, and all that. But it's just like. There's so many refugees trying to go into different countries. They're all in a frenzy, but some of them are being closed off, or some refugees are being prevented from coming in, which is sad.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess we could like get started with like kind of how this all started, how we think, why Putin is doing this. A lot of people are trying to establish what they think Putin's intentions are, possibly like reestablishing the Soviet Union, because Ukraine was a part of it.
Power.
Yes, he does. A lot of need lot of power hungry for with an imperialist ideology, which we're learning about in like history. Imperialism, and it's just this is an example of it. Like it's the fact that you're a country in 2 continents, yet you still want more. You want more. Yes. It's so ridiculous.
It's all about control, especially with like people like him who very much lack empathy.
We can all agree. There's
there's you can't look at that man and be like, okay, maybe he's a good person. No. Yes, he's invading like Ukraine. No,
but maybe there's no way.
Yeah, no, that man just wants power. He wants control. He's very greedy, and it's so scary. Like watching him talk. Like a video came up on TikTok, which I know, but it was an interview he was doing, and basically he was like looking at the interviewers and like the cameras and stuff, and he was saying like, if Ukraine joins, NATO, you will see like a war you've never seen before. Like there will be no winners, like nothing. Like that's horrifying,
right? And like, why are you so proud to say that?
Yeah. That's not something you just say.
No, yeah, he said it so casually. It was as if like. They were having coffee and they were talking about like whatever.
It's like it's gonna be a huge war.
Yeah,
pleasant coffee.
No, like it's so insane because like even NATO, like the Ukraine was asking like if they could put in a no-fly zone over Ukraine, and NATO denied it because Putin threatened to like bring them all into war with them. So like they literally like. Still, they're getting bombed now, like Kiev. I don't know how to spell it, like or not how to spell it, pronounce it. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, but Kiev like is being bombed constantly. There are literal civilians dying. Like children dying. Like there's honestly no excuse for this.
Yeah, no way to defend that.
There's no way you can defend Putin's actions, and sadly, there are people defending it, which is disgusting.
I do not understand.
I don't understand
right?
at all.
Like, how could you be like? Killing people is okay.
Yeah, but
let's continue doing
also what I've known, like with the background and stuff, with the Russian Empire and the Soviet Union, right? So Ukraine was like in that. Mm-hmm. How do you like justify killing all? I just don't understand with like the history of it. Why would you want the Russian Empire back?
Exactly. Like I was reading an article about why Putin decided to invade Ukraine, and he was basically saying that Ukraine is ours. It was always ours. It needs to be ours. And I'm like, bro, please. We have our own culture. We have our own languages. We have the own way we do things. We are not a part of Russia. Yeah. I don't care if you take us over. I am Ukrainian. I will never be Russian. That's just how it works.
Mm-hmm. They don't want to be a part of the Soviet. They never did.
No.
And the fact that he's literally bombing schools and hospitals and buildings and like that's not even like
something you recover from at all.
No, it's not. There's no way to justify that. And like literal Ukrainians are bunkering down in subway stations. Like I even saw like even on TikTok too, like a couple live videos came up of people literally in subway stations, and it was just silent in there. And there's like people bringing all their stuff, all their kids and their pets, and they're sleeping in the subway stations, because they have to use it as a bomb shelter now. And it's like,
it's horrible.
I don't understand how someone can
gives us a lot of like gratitude for like we're safe at school. Like we know we're gonna like. Granted, there could be like dangers here and there, but like.
But right now we're like
we're good.
We're
like
okay.
I know I'm gonna go home just fine tonight.
Yeah. It's just we don't know about like if the U.S. joins, because it's a very debated topic at this point, like whether or not we should get involved, because like we really want to help these people. They're suffering.
They want to protect the U.S.
So we also question this in like history all the time, like whether or not like the U.S. should be like a police force around the world for like other countries.
It almost reminds me of World War II, because U.S. in World War II, the U.S. did not join until basically it was too late almost, and a whole bunch of people had already died.
Yeah.
That's what I just keep thinking about, because more Ukrainians, and like not even just Ukrainians, but a whole bunch of people are dying every day, and I'm just like, I want us to do something, because that's what America is about. We don't just stand idly by. Like even Switzerland, I think it was Switzerland.
Yeah,
broke their neutrality.
500 years of neutrality.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy.
It's really great of them.
I feel like COVID's impacting our decision right now because COVID hit us really bad and we're still on year 3 of this. And to go, to have this still affecting us and then be like, okay, let's go to war.
Yeah,
it just brings up more problems.
What you were saying earlier before Switzerland, what were you talking about again?
What was I talking about?
U.S. Being that, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
What U.S. was about.
It was, about, how we were joining World War II, too. It also happened with, the Spanish-American War. It wasn't until, 200,000 Cubans died in concentration camps where we finally helped. It's, when is it, enough casualties?
Yeah.
When is it going to be the right time?
When does history stop repeating itself, in my opinion?
Right.
Yeah.
It's America finds a way to kind of butt itself into any situation, you know what I mean? In history and all of that, until it's when we have to stand up and do something about it, and then we wait off.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It could if we get if we go in too late or too early, we're Russia has nukes, Russia has all these weapons and crazy stuff that could really because us.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's scary because they also took a hold of Chernobyl, which I don't know why. Because it's literally still there's a lot of radiation there because you know about Chernobyl, right? No? Okay. It's a nuclear facility that blew up basically in the 80s, and it's obviously, it's still even Hiroshima, it's still mass amounts of radiation there. Those soldiers that are staying there are gonna die eventually because of the radiation poisoning, probably from cancer. And Putin's just sending his soldiers there.
See, if you're gonna start a war, might as well be smart about it.
Right.
Yeah,
he's not encouraging anything, but come on, you can't. I don't think anyone could be considerate starting this thing.
He's not even Putin doesn't even care about his soldiers. Okay,
no, he just wants power.
No, how could you even be that evil? Do you not have a conscience?
No,
it's ridiculous. I don't even know how.
Have you guys seen this really sad thing? I keep on seeing it on TikTok, but there's people writing songs about that the lyrics are taken from the last text messages that the Russian soldiers sent to their parents. And it's just I don't want to do this. I don't understand why we're doing this. There's no purpose to doing this. I don't want to hurt people like this.
Yeah.
And obviously the soldiers, most of the soldiers, most, I don't really know, obviously aren't supporting this.
No.
And yet they can't just leave the army. That's...
Yeah. I heard 6,000 Russian protesters were arrested because they were protesting. No one supports this.
Yeah.
Russians don't. Obviously, Ukrainians. No one in this world does except him and a weird handful
of his munchkins.
Yeah, exactly.
No, it's just they literally don't have freedom of speech at this point. They're literally getting arrested for protesting a war, which actually has happened in the U.S. In World War I. People were arrested for that, but it's they can't even promote their beliefs or whatever. And also, I feel much of the younger generation, the most recent generation in Russia, are the ones that don't want this to happen. It's a lot of people that were a part of the Soviet Union that my parents have noticed. They're a lot of people, older people that were in the Soviet Union kind of want it back, but a lot of the younger generation are no, we saw how that looked like.
We grew. We were
we've evolved.
We don't want that. There's many Russians that don't want this, but they can't even have a voice. It's it's insane.
No, I feel this is gonna this is not gonna be something short. It's gonna be
But I keep seeing the news. He keeps bombing Ukraine. What is he What is he looking for? That's what I'm asking. Maybe this has been answered and I just didn't research enough. But what's his end game? Just Ukraine joining the Soviet Union? I don't understand. The Soviet Union coming back?
I think he's looking for surrender. I think he's trying to threaten them enough
to the point where they're
for them to surrender. But we're not going to. Most likely. Have you seen have you seen the stuff where Ukrainians are Switching out road signs to confuse people?
And they're putting dirt in the roads.
Yeah, putting FU on the road signs and
Yeah.
stuff. So the Russians are getting confused, and I'm guys,
I like how they're doing that.
You guys are so
Yeah.
sassy.
I love how they're doing that.
No, it's literally been like 2 weeks. Like, what does he think is just gonna be like, okay, like I'll scare you guys a little bit. Like now you're mine.
Yeah.
Like what?
It's like, I don't even,
You want that?
I don't know what y'all's political beliefs are about, like, you know, the previous president, but Trump literally said that he thought this was a work of genius, and, like, I don't know what you guys, like, if you
That's why
support
he
him.
made it.
I don't know
Get
if
out
you
of
guys,
office.
I don't know if you guys support him at all, but like, ever, or if you know anyone, but just calling that work of genius is disgusting.
That's
Really weird.
The
That's
invasion,
really weird.
Everything. Like that's just disgusting to me.
No.
Okay,
And these people like lead our country.
Right?
Like
pick
this
them.
man-
he wanted this. He's
led
like
our
friends with
country.
Putin. He was like
I want
talking to
George
Putin.
Washington back. I'm
Yeah.
scared.
How about no more old men?
I
Yeah,
think we
about
need
that.
one.
I
Yeah.
want a female.
yeah.
I want a
Because
female
all men
who's
started
actually
wars.
smart.
Name one
Every
female who
man
started a
who
war.
started a war.
Yeah, name one female who started a war. You can't.
I mean, they haven't been put in power yet, so we can't say
Exactly. Well, we gotta test it out. Like,
Oh, they're not going. Women won't.
No.
Why? A war out of thin air for what reason?
exactly for this. This is so ridiculous. They're like, oh, their menstrual cycles will make them
Yeah,
like.
they're emotional.
They're emotional. They'll just do it like a
What about
snap.
my mental cycle?
No, but for men, it's like it's like their desire. You
It's
know,
just
so they're
power.
So, like,
It's power play. It's like male dominance. It's like I can't even believe like how like misogyny plays a huge part of this as well. Like you will never see a woman. Well, maybe a crazy one, but like, you'll never see someone be like, "I want power over this country, over this country. I want a whole empire." And so, because they're not doing it,
they're gonna go
they're-
kill people.
oh, yes, like it's insane.
No, it's just like controversial. Men have this like urge to be like, I'm big, strong. I have to go like do this and that. And
Tina
that
could go on about how she spends so much. But,
Yeah, I think
we're never for like a whole hour.
If we get into
We'd nener be done with this.
our
Like,
male viewers,
not sorry, but like you know, sorry, not sorry, but
yes,
no.
you better watch.
Another thing I would talk about, like, even though, like, it's just, it doesn't matter to me nearly as much as what's happening in Ukraine, obviously, but what's happening in the U.S. is people are talking about the gas prices increasing. They were, like, they're $4.50.
It's $4.50 right now.
$4.50.
Basically almost $5 now.
Within the last week, I've watched it increase. Literally the other day, I'm on the bus to school. I have to take Thomas, and there's a gas station right there.
That's
It was $4.19, and then on my way back, $4.29. Within like 7 hours.
I was on the road yesterday, and I saw the numbers literally go up,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
as I was watching, by like 2 cents
Yeah, here's
each.
the thing, though.
I was like,
I don't. From what I gather about the gas prices, two things. Number one, I spent $75 on gas the other day, and it did not get me from my gas light to a full tank.
Jeez.
That's saying something. Number two, for some reason, this is what I gather from why the prices are increasing so much, that Biden cut off our gas supply from Canada, I believe.
I think it was from Russia because they have a lot of oil.
I thought it was opposite because we were getting it from Canada, and now we're getting it from Russia, which is why it's increasing because the gas has to go overseas.
Wait, I thought
No, I think they're
America
cutting up-
cut off Russian ties with like
Yeah, I think
oil
it's
and stuff like that
specifically
because
from
of this.
Russia.
Yeah.
That makes more sense.
Yeah, because
I have like a lot.
I
of
don't think
oil
they
there.
would cut it from Canada because we like Canadians, but like it's just like it's insane because wasn't it like $3.17?
Literally was like 3 something.
It wasn't
like
that bad.
2 weeks ago.
The,
3
like
weeks
I think
ago.
the national-wide, I know it doesn't seem like a lot, but the nationwide gas price is like $3.79, which was like a 30-cent increase.
My dad
which-
screamed at me.
Like for gas price, dude, no, it's insane. Like
It was like, stop having me drive you around. The gas is so expensive.
no, like I thought my parents are like, oh my god, it's like $3.19 here, and they thought that was expensive, and now it's like
Now it's like almost $5.
$4.50. Like I used to be like, oh, don't worry, in Calabasas it's like $5,
but now it's like $5
I
here.
like drove by a gas station and it said 444. I was like, oh my god, angel number, and then I was like, oh my god, that's like a gas price. Like, I gotta pull over. No,
dude, no, that's like, it's like, how is it gonna go down? Like, is it ever? Like,
Not for a while.
no, like even if this does, if they're gonna be mad at us, they're not gonna give us their oil. Like they're not gonna want to do that.
I guess like gas also is like we're in so much debt, and like with like the pandemic, a lot of like we got a lot of like stimulus checks and like bonuses, and so like we have to like what's the word I'm looking for, like make it up again.
Reimburse it.
Yeah, kind of. But like, so gas prices are going up. I remember like last year, maybe a year and a half ago, me and my dad, we were in like Palatine, Kidler, like that area, and we got gas for $1.96 a gallon. Literally, like,
No.
yeah.
What?
Oh my god.
That's a dream.
I was
Yeah,
crazy
it
to pay for my own gas. Oh my god.
And it's not $5.
Yeah, like, didn't the gas increase, like, at the beginning of COVID, I think?
I feel like it started to kind of like increase.
It went a little bit, but, like,
and now it's just
not
so
10 cents
fast.
within 7 hours.
It is so fast, and it's just like, dude, like, how does it, like, I actually read a book about this. It was, like, a dystopian society, and it was called Empty, and it was about, like, what if we, like, ran out of, like, oil and all that, and they were like, oh my god, it's, like, $400, like, a gallon or whatever, and, like, ballpoint pens were, like, cool to have, like, fancy. Like, I know it's not gonna, like, end up like that soon, but, like, it's just, we're running out of oil in this earth.
Do you remember,
okay?
like, last year when, like, I don't even know what happened, but, like, there was, like, a gas shortage, question mark, and people had to, like, fill up. I thought it was really funny.
I think so. Yeah, people in tanks.
People had to
I remember that.
gas in, like, tanks.
They were, like, carrying that in the back of their cars.
I
was like,
remember this actually.
Start a fire? Like,
Yeah, my dad had a thing of gas in his car.
wasn't that in, like, Texas or something? Like, people were tying gallons of gas.
I think we were talking about it in this
Aline.
class, but someone, like, hacked the system. Man, how do you do that?
I don't know.
How is
Dude,
that,
it's like with stocks. Like, it's...
Oh my god.
As soon as that goes up,
not
like...
stocks.
Like, I don't even understand that, but it's just
Me
this.
neither.
Like, we're running out of oil so much. Like, I know, like, in Antarctica, there's, like, oil, but, like, there's, like, different, like, parts of it. Like, it's, like, a triangle of, like, different pieces. Like, China owns a part, and then we own a part, and then Dutch own a part, and Russia, and, like, we all, like, have little pieces, but it's just, like, you know, bless you. How much is there in the earth? Like, we can't... We're gonna run out soon. Like,
We're just a mess.
Yeah, what are we gonna do?
I know the Middle East they have a lot, but I don't know how good our ties are with them. Like,
Wait, who?
in the Middle East, they have a lot of oil. But I don't know, like, you know, if we're like really trading with them. So, there's that. I think we talked about basically everything we wanted to, right, Tina? I think so. I'm looking at the thing, and the most recent thing that I said was the Ukrainian and Russian officials wanted to discuss on the Belarusian border, which I don't know how that went. Obviously, we're not going to know how that went. President Zelensky is trying to talk to them. He's genuinely, like, trying to talk to Putin and trying to negotiate, you know, with words, okay? Yeah. He's not using violence. No. They're just revolting against the violence that's coming towards them. There's protesters. They're defending themselves. They're, you know, they're not being, like, the offense like Russia is. Like, Zelensky, very proud of him because I think he's very brave for staying in Ukraine in the first place. You know, wanting to be there for his people. Like, and I know he was, like, a comedian before, and he said, like, the last thing I want is to see people sad. I want to see them, like, happy and all that. But I was just like, I really admire him for that, because there's...
Like, I feel like any other world leader would have taken a flight out. You know what I mean? But he's staying, he's, you know, by his country, and that's, like, something that other leaders should look up.
And he's very much in danger, him and his family. Yet he's staying there. So, love him for that.
Yes.
But, yeah, I guess that's just, like, what's happened in these past 2 weeks. That's all we know.
Who knows when the next month
we don't know if we're going to be in World War
III. We might have a follow-up.
We don't know where, like, if we're going to have a war this year. Like, I've never been through a war, so, like...
I'm just going to graduate.
I don't know how do you think, like, Gen Z people will, like, handle it?
Oh my god.
They're probably going to make fun of it. Like,
they already have. Like,
on
Twitter, on TikTok.
TikTok, I mean, some of them are good. Some of them are good. Like, I saw a whole skit about Ukraine being in its room and, like, Russia kind of, like, stepping into the room, and Ukraine being like, dude, this is my room, get out. Like, some of them are good.
Someone compared the Russia and Ukraine situation to the Kim and Kanye.
Oh my god, yeah.
It was like, Russia is Kanye.
Stop.
Kim is Ukraine, and the U.S. is Pete Davidson, and NATO is Pete Davidson. And I was like,
Dude, no, I feel like Gen Zers would think of it as a joke. They make
We just
so
meme
many.
everything.
They would.
Everything is memed.
Don't you think, like, we've just, like, established so much as just, like, a society that, like, violence is not the answer? Like, you can sit down and communicate?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't get why.
One of my friends, shout out Claudia, I love you, she sent a poster about, like, drafting in the war.
What?
Yeah.
She
did?
Like, in the mail, it was, like, a poster. And me and Goditis, we were all talking about this, and he was like, I guess they thought your name was Claudio. And, like...
Because you can't get drafted.
But she was just, like, laughing. She was like, I'm not going into the war. Like, this is... No. Like,
This war isn't even necessary.
Right?
No.
Oh my god. If it escalates and if I was of age, I literally would be...
Well, we can't get drafted
I
because
would-
we're like...
We're minors.
Yeah. No, because, like, we're, like, female. Like, no women can get drafted.
Wait, no,
Is that
wait, I
still
thought women could get
intact?
drafted now.
No, I don't think we can.
I don't know.
We can't.
My
Only
sister
men
were
can.
talking about this, and she was like, I feel like it's allowed to women, but, like, if they want to, like, it's not, like, a
Yeah.
requirement.
Yeah.
I know if you have, like, mental health disability, even if you have anxiety or depression, you can't get drafted.
Yeah, I have...
So I'm in the clear.
I have, like, 3 reasons why I can't list. I have a hearing loss, and, like, the Army or military can't guarantee, like, hearing aid supplies for me.
Yeah.
I have OCD, depression, and anxiety, and they're like,
Yeah.
no.
And with
No, thank
with
you.
mental disorders, like, you know, increase of PTSD, obviously,
Right,
and
yeah.
especially
Yeah.
with depression or anxiety, like, that's a big risk factor,
Yeah.
you know? Just in the military in general. Like, so many, like, veterans come out with, like, PTSD, and, like, there's so many people that are going to be affected by this for years to come, and just think of the reasonings why this started in the first place is so ridiculous.
Yeah, and the programs that, like, follow after, like, that take care of, like, soldiers with PTSD are so bad.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
It's just, like, a money thing.
It's
Because, like, think about it. We have to put so much money into it, and then we're in debt, and then, like, everything increases.
like, there's no benefits to this thing.
Well,
It's
It's like a drama fest. Like, low-key, like, we were at such a good place, like, just globally. Now he's like, okay, let's go throw some bombs.
Like, even Russia, like, how is, like, what do you need more?
Of course
Like,
it's Russia, though.
it's
Like,
like-
they're crazy.
like, what do you, what does he see the benefit? Like, increasing power, and
He
then
wants
what?
Ukraine, that's literally it.
And then
He wants-
what? And then
Yeah,
war.
but then Ukraine's gonna go to, like, Czech and
Yeah.
Austria and, like, Hungary and, like,
People out of
Bulgaria
NATO.
and, like, everywhere.
Yeah, like, then he's gonna want more and more, and so
If
it's
he
not gonna
hits
be enough.
NATO, then all of us, like, are
Done.
against him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you, honestly, I don't see him winning, though.
No.
Do you know how many countries are in NATO? Like, that's a lot. We
It's
have a
there's
lot.
Russia
like-
versus
He's just
everyone
like-
else.
Everyone
When you're
else.
in NATO.
Everyone
28 countries are in NATO.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's just like, he just wants to be, like, the leader of the world.
Yeah.
Not gonna happen, babe.
And
You know who that
Ukraine,
reminds me
yeah.
of?
He's gonna die
Hitler?
before.
Literally Hitler. Like, that's
Yeah.
what he wanted.
World
War II. Yeah.
That's
Like-
what I said.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's literally like just imperialism, power hungry. Like he invaded Poland, you know, and then World War II broke out. But it's just and also I think Russia's mad because Ukraine wanted to join NATO.
Yeah.
They said
Yeah.
they do, and many other Eastern European countries want to also, and we're thinking about it. And Russia's like threatening them, and it's just like. It's so sad because, like, God, just let them, you know,
Let them live.
Let them be. Oh my
be.
god.
It's not that
It's
hard.
like,
We're
you
not
have
hurting
enough.
anyone.
He
Like,
is enough.
he really goes to sleep at night knowing that he like bombed Kiev and children died and people died and he goes home and he like goes to sleep and then he does it all
Tucks
over
himself
again
in with the little teddy bear and the Russian
with
flag.
no support but his like voices in his head probably.
Right? No.
Like,
why is this not, like, a requirement to be, like, a leader? Like, you have to have some sort of, like, mental test. Because how are you, like...
Just
I-
morals.
like half the presidents.
You need a
No, 'cause,
morals
like, how
check.
are you gonna, like, have someone in charge who's mentally ill? Like, someone who is mentally stable is not gonna be like, I'm gonna go kill kids.
Mm-hmm. It's like a whole like he has a whole personality disorder. Like he's a whole narcissist. Like,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How old is he?
Isn't
I
like
don't know,
60
probably old.
something
Like
I thought?
I'm gonna look this
60?
up.
70?
there should be a cap for like leaders.
Right? Like, stop!
Like stop at 65.
Like, stop driving, stop employing, stop anything.
They have one to stop driving.
Well, I know, but, like, you know, old people
Okay,
are
but like,
such
why
bad
run the
drivers.
country when you're
He's
on
69 years old. Like, he's gonna die.
He's been president since 2012.
Honestly, like even the
Go
Supreme
away.
Court, like it's
10 years.
until they die. They literally like can retire whenever they. So,
Right?
I think that's like unfair. I'm like there should
I
be like
love
cut off for the Supreme Court.
I love
Yeah.
old
You're
people, but,
92, like judging for the also like the Supreme Court in general. What is it like numbers. Like, I feel like that's not enough people to determine
huge
laws,
cases.
huge cases that determine like stuff for the country. You know,
it's like majority. So it's like
yes,
if the three of us don't like pizza. Okay, pizza's the worst thing ever. Like
yeah.
And they're speaking for the whole country.
Nine people to
9
represent
people.
millions,
And like
Exactly.
9 85-year-olds.
right? Like
It's
who like have like.
Well, we just had like our president is how old? Mr. Biden.
He's like 78.
Joe Biden.
He's old.
I know.
Yeah. I mean, like, sure, he's been in
I think he's the
politics, like,
oldest.
for a big chunk of his life.
Like,
But
that
he's
doesn't-
kind of showing signs of dementia.
Well, all of our
Boy, just go to like a retirement home in Florida and just,
Yeah.
live
Like,
your
like,
life.
chill out there.
like you're fine as a senator. Like then you retire.
Yes, I'm sorry.
No, like go ahead. Like I was just saying, he should just retire, bro. Like I don't care. Like just get a young person.
No, because like young
Yes.
people like understand so much more. Like I'm
They're
very
within the now.
right.
Yes.
Old people are within 40
Yes,
years ago.
my parents
Yeah,
keep saying
example
like, "Oh,
given.
we're part of a different generation." It's like that is not an excuse.
Bro,
you were
my-
here in 2022.
Yes.
Live in this, okay?
The
Not
weirdest thing
1980.
ever. My grandparents, the 75-year-old little lady who is on the farm, the villagers, are more like socially aware than my parents are. My parents are like, oh well, blah 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 blah, like this, and then my grandparents are like, what are you saying? Like this is not when you were a teenager anymore. Like Tina's a teen. Like learn to adapt with like how it's changed, not how you were.
And that's
40 years ago.
exactly what's happening to world leaders
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
Once Soviet Union, like it was before, like the past, which for some reason he hasn't learned from, like so easily see what happened, and just same with like people around the world making decisions. Like they need to see what's in the now. What is morally. People need to get their morals in check around the world.
It's such a lame excuse to be like, they're from a different time, they grew up in a different way. Okay, where were you in all of these years where time has progressed, when social issues have progressed? Like, you were here, you're alive, you were with everything, you have access to social media, you can educate yourself, and you're still going to use an excuse like, okay, I'm old, so I can act like
whoever I want to be.
I'm still in the 80s.
I think this is a little opinionated. I think we need to get rid of the standard of like old people are wiser, so you have to respect them. Sometimes old people are really dumb. Like,
yes.
Like,
my great grandpa, like seriously, like he passed away recently, but he lived in North Carolina, and I would have to go see him, and he would just be he's old, but he's not wise. He was the most racist person.
yeah.
And like I would like he would like casually drop like a blackface joke, and I would obviously be like, oh,
okay, good to know.
and then he would be like, oh, I just lived in a time before you, and I was like, but we're in 2020.
Yeah, they're like, respect your elders. Like, earn my respect then. Like, earn it. You're going to have to earn it.
Us. Like, you know how many times I've had conversations with my grandparents, and I'm a very opinionated person, and I'm very, I'm very vocal about that kind of stuff, so we were talking, and basically, like, whenever I would talk to them, they would kind of laugh in my face. Because, you know, I'm young, I haven't lived
you don't
this
know
life,
yet.
I haven't learned what's needed to be learned, but I was like, I'm living in this right now, and I'm seeing it, and it's affecting, like, you know, whoever. Like, why can't I speak on it?
And then you speak up, and they're like, you're so sassy, you have attitude.
Yeah, like, you're being disrespectful, you're not listening to me, like,
okay.
Y'all aren't listening to me.
Yeah,
like,
they
come
are.
on.
Yeah. They don't want to listen.
Like, it's like they just, like, are frozen in time. Like, my parents still treat me like I'm 12, and I'm like, okay, I'm going on 17.
Yeah.
Like, we gotta get rid of the, like,
baby.
you can't go on a walk alone, you're gonna get hurt. Like, no, let me go take the car. Like, it's okay, I'll be fine. Like, I don't know, like, old people, like, I guess it makes sense. Like, you don't want to, like, accept that you're growing up. You don't want to accept that things are changing. So you're just like, okay, I'll stay. I'll
No, but
continue
change is
seeing.
good.
Yeah,
You
change
need
is good.
change.
Change is
You
great.
need
Change is necessary.
Yes.
You need that. Yeah, with everything changing right now, this isn't necessary, but, like, you know, I think we've gone over everything we know that's happening with Ukraine, and it's just, like, we can relate to a lot of things we've seen in history. We can relate it to a lot of things like going on in the world now. Currently, what we want our leaders to do, who we're voting more since we're voting in the next election, which is scary. But
Can't wait.
yeah, but it's
so
just
much power.
it's like truly sad. It's depressing, and we're just gonna have to see how this plays out because we have no control, and that's sad.
There's not much we can do.
There's
Just
not much we can do. All we can do is vote eventually, and like hopefully get the word out, which really isn't doing anything because the protesters aren't even changing his mind.
But like we are doing good things. Like there's posters around the building with like I think it's the NHS like donating stuff to Ukraine.
Yeah, and raising money and
oh
charity.
My
And,
there's I'm so sorry, I just remembered something. There's this one family here, I cannot remember who, but they are doing an organized drop because they're sending a they're sending a plane over Ukraine. And they're dropping supplies down. And, like, one of my family friends is making Ukraine bracelets and donating $5 for every bracelet to, like,
to help.
Yeah.
Because so much is lost. I mean, I kind of feel bad. I know we just went on a tangent about how old people are, like, terrible. But, like, I kind of feel bad. Like, they've lived through so many wars. And, like, so much. Like, my parents lived through a war. My parents lived through 9/11. They're living through a pandemic. They're about to live through another war. And they're only 50.
Yeah.
And we're only 16, 17.
Pandemic and a war.
Okay, but, like, like...
Yeah, it's not nearly as
like,
much.
we shouldn't... Like,
yeah.
Like, no one should ever have to go through
Yeah,
that
like,
ever in a
no.
lifetime, but...
Like, we not romanticize. We, like, idealize, like, let's not repeat our mistakes. Like, let's learn. But, yeah, we're doing the same
we
thing.
are.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
We have not learned. We like to say we have, but in my opinion, there's a lot of things we have not learned on.
Yeah.
And it sucks with, like, our age group. There's really not much we can do. Like
You
what
can
are we gonna
post
do? We
an
can't.
Instagram thing.
Yeah.
You can donate, but you
It's
can't,
like the best thing that we can do, which is why I like that we're doing this podcast. Like, no matter who listens to it, like, we're talking about it. We're staying informed. Like, we have a basic understanding of what's happening and, like, what's right from wrong. But, like, other than that, besides, like, donate, like, I don't think there's much that we can do. And it's, like, really frustrating because we really want, like, change.
Yeah.
So.
Wish there was more we could do. Like, other than, like, there's people being, like, literally on the front lines, like, in Ukraine helping, but obviously can't because it's dangerous. But shall we wrap this up, Tina? I think we discussed a lot more than Ukraine. But thank you guys so much for listening to this podcast. We are again part of Hersey Dispatch, and this is the Hersey Howl. So thank you so much for listening.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Maybe. Bye.